We all talk about getting lucky, right? A hot streak at the poker table, a stock that just keeps going up. But what if I told you that luck over the long run has almost nothing to do with it? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and look at the simple, powerful math that governs success and failure, and how you can master your own long game.
So here's our game plan. We'll start by figuring out the difference between real luck and just math. Then we'll get into the actual equation that professionals use. We'll see how casinos use this very same math to build their empires. And then, the best part, how you can turn the tables and find your own positive edge.
All right, let's dive right in. The first thing we have to understand is this constant tug of war that's happening between the randomness you see in the moment and the cold, hard predictability of math over time. You know that feeling, right? When you're on a roll, everything you touch turns to gold. It feels like you've cracked the code. But is that real skill, or is it just a temporary statistical blip that math is about to correct and correct hard? This really breaks it down perfectly. On one hand, you've got short-term variance. This is the chaos, the wild swings, the stuff that actually happens day to day. But on the other hand, you have long-term expectation. This is the mathematical truth. It's the predictable average that, believe me, always shows up if you play the game long enough. So, how do we get from just guessing to actually calculating our odds? Well, we need a tool, a way to put a real number on our long-term advantage. And that tool is called expected value. Expected value, or EV, is the whole secret sauce. It's a simple formula that tells you what an average outcome will be if you could repeat a decision over and over and over again. It lets you look right through the noise of a single win or loss and see the true mathematical value underneath. And look, the math is actually pretty straightforward. Let's say you're offered a bet on a coin flip, a 50-50 shot. But if you win, you get paid $120 for your $100 bet. To get the EV, you just multiply your chance of winning by the amount you'd win and subtract the chance of losing times the amount you'd lose. Simple as that. And the result? A positive EV of $10. Now, this is absolutely crucial. You will not win $10 every time. You'll still lose half your bets. But if you make this bet 1,000 times, your average profit will get incredibly close to $10 per flip. That, my friends, is a real mathematical edge. Now, for the fun part. Let's see how this exact same principle, when it's used against you, allows casinos to build billion-dollar empires in the desert. They're absolute masters of weaponizing a negative EV for the player. You've heard of the house edge, right? It sounds kind of mysterious, but it's not. All it is a small, guaranteed negative expected value baked into every single bet you make. For them, it's a positive EV. For you, it's a negative one, every single time. But you're probably thinking, hold on, I've seen people hit jackpots. People walk out of there with huge winnings. So if individual players can get lucky, how does that tiny little edge for the house become a guarantee? Well, here's their secret weapon. It's called the law of large numbers. It's a fundamental law of the universe, and it basically says that the more times you do something, the closer your actual results will get to the mathematical expectation. See, a casino isn't built on one bet. It's built on millions and millions of bets per day. And over that scale, their small edge isn't just likely, it's a certainty. And this chart shows it in action perfectly. The theoretical average of a single dice roll is 3.5. Now, after just 10 rolls, the average is all over the place. It's 3.9. Pure randomness. But watch what happens as we get to 100 rolls, then 1,000, then 100,000. It just gets closer and closer and closer to that 3.5. Randomness gets smoothed out into pure, predictable math. Okay, so we know the casino's playbook, find a small mathematical edge, and then just repeat, repeat, repeat. So the big question is, how do we flip the script? How can we apply that exact same logic to our own ventures, like investing or betting? In the world of trading, they call this concept expectancy. But don't let the name fool you, it is the exact same thing as EV. It combines not just your win rate, but also the size of your average wins compared to the size of your average losses. It is the mathematical proof of whether a strategy is profitable in the long run. But this is exactly where so many people get tripped up. They get completely obsessed with their win rate. You know, you see a trading system with a 90% win rate and you think, wow, that's a can't-lose proposition. But focusing only on that one number, well, that's a huge trap. And this table proves why. Sure, you're winning 9 out of 10 times, which feels great. But if that one loss is 10 times bigger than your average win, well, you do the math. Your system actually has a negative expectancy. Over the long haul, you are mathematically guaranteed to lose money.
And this is one of the most important takeaways from all of this. Being right a lot is not the same thing as being profitable. True success isn't about your win rate. It's about whether your entire system, your wins and your losses, adds up to a positive number.
Okay, so let's say you've done the hard work. You found a system, a strategy with a real positive edge. You're not done yet. Now comes an equally important question. How much money do you actually risk on each opportunity? Well, there's actually a mathematical answer to that too. It's called the Kelly criterion. It's a formula that pros use to figure out the exact optimal fraction of their capital to bet in order to maximize their growth over the long term. It's the perfect balance. It tells you when to be aggressive, but also keeps you from blowing up your account on a bad run of luck. And the man who literally wrote the book on beating the casinos with math, Edward Thorpe, said it best right here. Finding the edge is the central problem. It's step one. But knowing how much to bet, that's the other, equally critical half of the puzzle. All right, let's bring it all home. We've talked about expected value, the law of large numbers, and how to size your bets. Now, let's wrap this all up into a single, powerful mindset you can use to win your own long game. Really, what this all comes down to is learning to separate your process from any single outcome. Your expected return. Think of that as the destination you plug into your GPS. It's the calculated long-term goal. Your realized return, well, that's just the random path you took on one trip with all the traffic and detours. The pro focuses on the map, not the traffic jam, because they know that over enough trips, they'll always get to their destination. So, in the end, mastering the long game isn't about being psychic or predicting the next card. It's about having the discipline to find an edge and the patience to just execute over and over and over again, letting the law of large numbers do all the heavy lifting for you. So the only real question left is, are you ready to stop chasing luck and start playing the odds?